You know that feeling when you finally cross the finish line of the American dream, but it feels like you just stepped into a trap? You did exactly what society demanded. You grinded for years to build a pristine 750 credit score. You signed the 30-year papers for your first home. You financed a reliable car, and you proudly took on what financial experts call good debt. Yet, at the end of every month, despite making a solid income, your checking account is gasping for air. You are house-rich, car-proud, and completely cash-poor. What if the very system you use to build your life wasn't designed to build your wealth, but to securely harvest your income for the next 3 decades? The truth is the banking industry has weaponized mathematics and human psychology to turn your greatest achievements into their greatest assets. Let me show you how they did it and how to break the cycle. For decades, we have been conditioned to wear our credit scores like a badge of honor. We brag about a FICO score of 800 as if it measures our moral character or our financial independence. But let's strip away the marketing and look at the underlying behavioral science. Researchers studying human habits, utilizing frameworks like the Fog behavior model from Stanford University, understand that to create a permanent, unbreakable habit, you need a trigger, an action, and a reward. The modern credit system is the ultimate weaponized application of this model. It is engineered using pure gamification. Every time you check your banking app and see your credit score tick up by 5 points, your brain receives a targeted hit of dopamine. It utilizes a variable reward system, psychologically identical to pulling the lever on a slot machine or getting a notification on social media. But here is the neuroeconomic trap. Your brain falsely associates this dopamine hit with wealth creation. In reality, a high credit score does not mean you are wealthy. It simply means you are highly profitable to a bank. It proves you are exceptionally good at taking on debt and paying it back with interest. The financial system has brilliantly rewired your biological reward center. They have gamified your life, manipulating your natural human desire for progress to keep you happily running on a treadmill of perpetual borrowing. By the way, if you want to understand how banks specifically use this dopamine loop to keep you swiping, check out our video on the credit card trap popping up on the screen right now. But to truly escape, you have to stop playing their psychological game and look at the brutal mathematics they are hiding in plain sight. Here is the core breakdown of the good debt illusion. To truly escape this cycle, we have to look at the 3 biggest lies the middle class has been sold about good debt. These aren't just minor miscalculations, they are engineered wealth extraction machines. Let's start with the ultimate American dream, buying a house. You sign a 30-year mortgage, you get the keys, and you feel a massive sense of pride because you are finally building equity instead of throwing money away on rent. But if we look at the exact mathematics of an amortization schedule, a very dark reality emerges. Why do we eagerly sign these papers? Because we are blinded by the cultural narrative of ownership. The system relies on you focusing entirely on the emotional milestone of owning a home, completely ignoring the structural mechanics of the loan itself. Here is the brutal math of the amortization illusion. Let's say you take out a standard $400,000 mortgage at a 7% interest rate for 30 years. In your very first year, you will pay roughly $32,000 in mortgage payments. You think you are paying down your house. You are not. Of that $32,000, approximately $28,000 goes straight to the bank as pure interest profit. Only a microscopic $4,000 actually touches your principal balance. For the first decade of your 30-year loan, you do not own that house. You are simply renting the money from the bank at an exorbitant premium. In fact, it takes until year 21 for your principal payment to finally exceed your interest payment. This is why you feel stuck. The system is front-loaded to drain your cash flow immediately. But you can hack this environment by simply designing a system where you make one extra principal payment a year, often done by switching to bi-weekly payments. You can shatter their amortization curve, shaving off 5 to 7 years of compounding interest and reclaiming tens of thousands of dollars. This mathematical blindness leads us directly into the second trap, the auto loan and the monthly payment illusion. You walk into a car dealership and the salesperson asks you one specific question: how much can you afford per month? They rarely ask about the total price. Behavioral economists call this the framing effect. By framing a massive depreciating debt as a bite-sized monthly subscription, they bypass your brain's logical defense mechanisms. Your brain can easily rationalize spending $600 a month, completely ignoring the devastating long-term financial damage. Let's look at the numbers. You finance a $40,000 car at an 8% interest rate for 72 months to get that affordable monthly payment. By the end of the term, you haven't paid $40,000, you've paid nearly $51,000. But worse, cars are rapidly depreciating assets. The second you drive it off the lot, it loses 20% of its value. You are paying compounding interest on an asset that is actively dying. You are mathematically underwater the moment you sign the contract, transforming what should be a simple mode of transportation into a severe financial liability. The only way to beat this is to completely change your framework. Stop negotiating monthly payments. If you must finance, use the 20-3-8 rule. Put 20% down, finance for no more than 3 years, and keep the payment under 8% of your gross income. If you can't fit that mathematical environment, you cannot afford the car. The final and most subtle trap is the credit limit mirage. You diligently pay your bills, and suddenly your bank rewards you by automatically increasing your credit limit from $5,000 to $15,000. You feel a surge of validation. You feel richer. But this is a psychological snare rooted in Parkinson's law, which states that work expands to fill the time allotted for it. In personal finance, Parkinson's law means your lifestyle expenses will naturally expand to fill your available credit limit. When your limit increases, your brain's perception of scarcity decreases. You start justifying small upgrades, a better dinner, a newer phone, because you mentally feel like you have a $15,000 safety net. But if you fall into the trap and carry a $5,000 balance at a standard 24% credit card interest rate, you are bleeding $1,200 a year just in interest. You are literally paying a subscription fee to the bank for the privilege of looking wealthier than you actually are. The system wants you to confuse available credit with actual net worth. To defend yourself, you must decouple your self-worth from your FICO score, freeze your credit limits, refuse the automatic increases, and build a physical cash emergency fund so you never have to rely on a bank's artificial safety net again. Here is the profound shift you need to make if you ever want to build real wealth. The middle class has been sold a lie that debt is a tool for acquiring a lifestyle. They use the bank's money to buy liabilities, things that lose value and drain cash, and society convinces them to disguise these as assets. Let me be clear. A massive mortgage on a primary residence that suffocates your monthly cash flow is not an asset, it is a liability. The ultra-wealthy, however, play an entirely different game. They don't care about their FICO score for the sake of ego. They don't play the bank's gamified credit card point system. They use good debt as a strictly calculated tool, leveraging the bank's money to acquire true assets, businesses, income-producing real estate, or investments that generate positive cash flow. They don't work to pay the bank, they mathematically structure the bank to work for them. You must stop playing the consumer credit game. Stop obsessing over a 3-digit score that only measures your obedience to a system designed to keep you broke. If you feel trapped by a 30-year mortgage, or if you're overwhelmed by the invisible weight of your car payments, I need you to hear this loud and clear. You are not broken. You are not inherently bad with money. You are just a human being fighting a multi-trillion-dollar system engineered by behavioral scientists and financial geniuses explicitly designed to keep you on the treadmill. But today, you see the math. You see the illusion. It is time to take your financial power back. Before you go, I want to hear from you. Drop a comment below and tell me, which piece of good debt is secretly keeping you up at night? Is it the mortgage, the car, or the credit limit? Let's get real in the comments. And if you want to understand the exact predatory psychology banks use to trap you in the credit card cycle, click the video on your screen right now. We expose the whole playbook. I'll see you over there.